Hey guys, happy Sunday. I, Tonight's video is going to be about women and men and how women treat other women and how women and men um, find themselves in very sticky situations of which they're not happy with one another and what's really going on. Okay, so today my husband and I actually hit a milestone. We wound up having our kids watched by a babysitter that is not related to us. So kudos to us. We finally branched out and had somebody watch our kids. So we spent a lot of money to hire this babysitter for 4 kids for 5 hours and to go to this get together. And I was so excited about it because we had not gone out, just the two of us, in a long time because his parents have been out of town and we just, with Christmas and birthdays and things like that, it just, time got away from us. So I was really looking forward to it, and we get to this get together and it's a lot of people I don't know, and that's fine because it's one of my husband's friends. And the host is just like this wonderful person and his wife, and like they're both wonderful people and like very kind and just authentic, I guess, for lack of a better term. So the hardest thing for me was this get together. So I actually, because I wanted it to be really special, I went out and got a special shirt that I thought my husband would like, and I wanted to try and look really nice. You know, I mean, my hair looks ridiculous now, but I had my hair nice. I took time to get ready and whatnot and look nice for him. And I didn't know any of the other women at this party, and I'm the type of person that will go up to them and say, "Hey, I'm Carly, nice to meet you," and shake their hand and get to know them better, because I feel like a lot of the time, you know, women kind of get kind of catty when they don't even know someone else, and it's completely unnecessary. It's just like this thing that women do. And anyways, so I could feel a lot of these women were looking at me and like not in a great way. And I honestly, if someone wanted to be my friend, I would be their friend, and I would try to be the best friend I possibly could be. And so I'm not that type of person that's like gossipy, vindictive, jealous, nothing. I don't do that stuff. And I could just feel like a lot of the girls, because I didn't know them, were kind of judging me. And that's what women do. And it's a very scary, hard thing to deal with. I know that men have their own thing, right? But women can be very sneaky. They can be very aggressive in their own way, in like a sneaky way. And it's actually a biological thing. So, you know, women are more competitive than you would assume. Not that they'd be competing with me for anything. I'm married. I don't really care. I just want my husband to be proud of who he married. I try to take care of myself. I'm not the best looking person, and that's okay. I don't need to be the best, but I want him to be attracted to me. And I could feel that some of these women, you know, obviously they had been through some hard things. Some of them, or most of them, had actually been divorced. And some of them had let themselves go, you know. I mean, it's very easy to do when you have kids, and it's certainly hard when you have kids, not just because of having a baby, but also because you're constantly busy with them and you forget to take care of yourself. I mean, that's a real thing for women. That's like, and especially in households where the men don't help at all, that is more potent. That is definitely more of a situation, and that should be a video in itself. Whereas if you have a wife that is gaining weight, or, you know, not blow drying her hair, like washing her hair, or like just looks like she's not, you know, even eating healthy or taking vitamins or whatever, like, and I'm guilty of that. Like, prime example, I mean, I was now I'm 5'10", so, but with my second baby, Like, I was gigantic. Like, gigantic. I was, let's see here. I don't even know if I want to share this, but okay, so I was 50 pounds more than I am now. And my second child was my largest child, longest. 9 pounds, 10 ounces, 23 inches long, or 22. But anyways, so he was big. He's still big. He's going to be super tall. And I gained so much weight, and anyways, so it just does that to you. Like, I mean, all my other pregnancies, my other 2 after that, and the prior one, not as big. So I guess what I'm trying to say is if you have a woman that's not taking care of themselves, it may not just be them. It could be you. It could be the husband. It could be the spouse, like the partner or whatever. Because when a person has a child, they do everything for that child. Like, they want to make sure they're, like, just well cared for. So imagine doing that and being so exhausted if you are the only person taking care of that child. How much your body goes through, how much your mind goes through, and you're too tired to take your vitamins, you're too tired to work out, you're too tired to eat right because you just want to feel good, so you got that dopamine thing going on with eating more sugar and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it's very easy to get out of shape and be bummed out. And so there were some women like that there that never got back into shape. There's been some women there that were divorced and you could just tell were just angry. And so it got me to thinking, why? I wish, two things I'm thinking about. 3. So one is, why do women have to be so mean to other women? I don't get it. Like, why do we have to think when we look at another woman, what's with that girl? Like, oh, she thinks she's too good, or, oh, that girl's kind of, I don't know, flashy or whatever, whatever they're thinking. Or, hey, it could be the shoes on the other foot. Maybe I'm thinking like, oh, wow, what happened to her? Why is she not in super great shape? But that's not how I think. I'm thinking, I've been there. I was 50 pounds more than I was now. So I understand that. And it takes hard work to not be there. So this is not like, oh, well, she doesn't understand. No, I absolutely understand. And it takes hard work and dedication to not be like that. And also, internally, it takes a lot to not be vindictive and, like, jealous of other girls and gossipy, like, ugh. And now, mind you, I didn't know any of the women at this party. I knew one other girl. And she's actually, like, she came in for just a little bit and then had to go. But so I was literally, like, by myself. So, and it just kind of, I was able to just sit there and have these thoughts, like, why? What a waste of time. I think there needs to be, there's this whole thing on social media, like, we need to normalize this, or we need to normalize that. Like, you know what? We need to normalize just being kind to one another and accepting one another and seeing the good in one another. Seeing the good in one another is probably, like, one of the biggest things someone could do, because I actually kind of do that to a fault, and I think it has really suited my life in long term, because I have kept people in my life even though they have actually not been the nicest to me. I've still kept them in my life because I feel like, it's important to help others. I had a friend that was good friends with someone, and she was in a sorority, and this girl she was friends with, they were all in a sorority, had said a couple things to her and these other girls in the sorority. And the sorority girls, and not to bash sorority girls, because I think that there's a lot of nice sorority people, okay, but this particular group shunned this girl. Literally, all of them, like, they all went to the same sorority. They cut this girl out and they don't talk to her anymore. All because she had some opinions about like their husbands and stuff like that. And I understand, yeah, it's disrespectful, but like to completely cut someone out of your life because of like just a few things they said is like kind of crazy and actually kind of lazy. Anyway, so I'm at this party, and you know, at first I didn't understand why people were kind of like, you know, like I could see some of the girls like looking at me, and I'm like kind of getting uncomfortable because I'm like, I don't know them, and you know, I'm here to just have fun and make new friends and whatnot. And so I just started introducing myself to everyone, and you know, getting to know them. And as soon as you introduce yourself, the whole guard comes down. They're like, okay, she's reaching out to me. And I think that's a huge thing because for whatever reason, I don't know, like it just helps. I'm not really sure why. I don't know. And then as I started to talk to these women, we'll just specifically talk about the ones that didn't look happy. Come to find out, like they had been in these relationships that did not work out, that were rather sad. I believe I remember one woman saying like, yeah, that was the time when I was telling him he needed to quote unquote man up and own his mistakes or something like that. This is what she said. And I was just like, wow. And I thought to myself, what could he have done and what could she have done that would make them even in that place, right? And for him to have to man up. So was he never manning up? And if that was the case, what brought you guys together in the first place? Irregardless, what made that man the way he is to not man up to something? And what is manning up? Like, what was he supposed to man up about? So all of this is very vague, but I guess my point is leaving this party, I felt so sad. Like, I did not have a good time. I mean, I had a good time when I would talk to the host and my husband. But it was not really a joyful thing for me internally. And, but you know, I find the best in every situation. I'll just try to find the joy in everything. But it was sad for me because from a psychological perspective, I found myself wondering, like, how can we change this for future generations? Because I think if that man who didn't quote unquote man up to whatever she was talking about, maybe there was some way he was raised to where he didn't feel man enough. And I say this because there was a very interesting conversation too, where we were talking about, my husband and I and the hosts of the party, we were just talking about projects in the house. And my husband likes to work on things. And that's great because that's what men are supposed to do. And I don't mean that in a sexist way. I mean it in a way where like they are literally wired for this. Their hormones, everything. The sense of completion of a task or a project is huge for them. And that is just how it's been genetically and for generations. You know, men work on things. They improve things. They tinker. And it's one of the many things that they do. And I mean, it gives them that sense of accomplishment, that sense of completion, a little bit of dopamine, or maybe the dopamine is the process. But, and I was hearing some of these wives complain about how much their husband does projects. And it's like, what? How could you complain about that? There are women on the completely other side of the spectrum that complain that their husband doesn't ever get off the couch. So, goodness gracious, like, we are all wired to complain about something. We need to find what is wrong and talk about it. Which is what I'm doing right now. It's just mind-blowing to me. I guess I just had to get this out there because it really was like a burden to me. It was something that was really festering after we've gotten home tonight. And I guess a part of me feels like I wish this kind of stuff would stop. Like, I think we need to normalize how women are kind and welcoming to other women. And unless they've been scorned by that particular woman, there's really no other reason for them to be weird or mean or vindictive or spiteful or gossipy or giving you the stink eye. Like, there's really no reason for it. And then second would be the men. Like, if there are men that are not doing things in this realm, and I mean this world, like accomplishing things, like small things, it could be anything, you know, daily chores, building something, having a project, it could be anything, fixing something, working outside, like that needs to be something. And if you're a guy that is not doing that, you may feel a sense of loss. And there are guys now, that's why video games are so popular. Let's be realistic, because you're going into that game. Believe me, I used to play video games. I loved playing video games, like with my husband and his brothers and whatnot, or his brother and friends. Like, I liked that because it was like, oh, you can go on an adventure and then you can accomplish tasks and win the game. And that gives you the same stimulation, dopamine, right? Once you've completed that task or goal of the game. So the thing is we need to make sure that our men are not just doing things like video games, but we allow time for them to create some wonderful things that give them a sense of self-accomplishment. And then the other thing is, I think, like, women need to just find the joy in the little things and open up their minds to friendship with other people, because life is really short. And if there's a girl who really had her relationship with her partner fall apart and she has children and everything, I mean, that is a woman who is angry. I saw it tonight. I saw it. And it'll happen again and again and again for these women and men. The same, like, it's a cycle. So, like, if you had that happen to you once already with, you know, your husband, and then you went out and had a boyfriend after a while or whatever, like, even though maybe your husband was completely in the wrong and that's why the divorce happened or whatever, the reality is unless you actually change, you really shouldn't go looking for someone else, because you still attracted that person. You still got married to that person. So clearly you have an attraction to someone like that for whatever reason. So there needs to be some sort of change within you before you start trying to find a new person. So much that went on tonight, man. Holy cow. Oh, hopefully this video helps somebody out there or strikes up an awesome conversation in the comments. I hope you guys have a great week.